England now. Race 4 and Flemington Romans is your favourite in this one. Some good support, around about 14 cents worth of deductions through the market, so nothing that's really going to throw it off too much, but one to be wary of with a couple of these moves. Flemington Romans is your favourite and your best backed in this one. Sitting $4.40 into $3.60 now, just out to $3.70. Nothing to alarm there. Tara Mansour, $7.50 into $4.80 has been a really strong move. Newfoundland, $5 just out to $6 there. Now the second best backed in this one is surprisingly Vivideal, $11 at open, now into $7. Now the weight of money is spread pretty evenly through those top four, so there is nothing really jumping right off the page. Flemington Romans a good move, $4.40 into $3.70, but again, just holding a little bit more than the others in the hold there. But the same race multi, more places. Now, you can go to up to 50% of the market. So this one, 10 horses, you can do the math on that one, but I'll do it for you. You can go to top 5, and trust me, you can still get some good odds even when you go all the way down to top 5. Select horses to finish anywhere in the top half of the field and get bigger odds, of course, with Sportsbet. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on your screen or visit the website.
This mounting yard is brought to you by the 2025 Magic Millions Gold Coast Yearling Sale. Catalogue online now.
Readiness app handicap at 2,500 metre benchmark. 78 is our fourth event of the afternoon. This was on the following Saturday last year and won by One Last Kiss for Dan O'Sullivan and Luke Curry. Oceanic Flash and My Brother's Keeper filled the Miners. We don't have the one in the yard as yet, so we'll start our preview with the two in Newfoundland who ran in the Bagot.
Yeah, and should be hard fit for having had that run over further. Drops back in distance today. That might be a positive. I think the drop in class is certainly a positive for Newfoundland. Maps for a soft run, does rise in weight and gets an apprentice on, but I think is pretty obviously among the 3 or 4 better winning hopes in the race.
He's just a gentleman from a yard point of view. He's a lovely, handsome type of horse. I really quite like him as a type in general. He does everything right. He conserves his energy nicely. He's deep into a preparation now. He's been racing really consistently. And based on what I'm seeing, he should be doing the same thing today.
Sharing the mounting yard with Newfoundland is the 10 in Sentimental Flame. Travis Dowdle bringing a couple of runners across to Melbourne for the meeting today. Placed over 2,400 metres on the parks back in early December.
Interesting runner here who made an early move and stuck on quite well last start in Adelaide. Winner of the race has since won again. Now this is a stronger contest, hence double figure odds available, but if Sentimental Flame can jump well, might be able to put itself up in the firing line on the speed, but if Sentimental Flame is slowly away, perhaps look for her to make an early move and then inject some speed into the race in the mid stages as she has done last time out.
She's a nice type of horse. She's a little bit tense on race day. I don't know if that's typical for her, obviously doing all of her racing over in South Australia, but she's been brought over here in really tip-top condition. She's moving well, and if her attitude's normal for her from what you're used to seeing, then I've got no problem recommending her based on what I'm seeing.
We now got some mates. The 4 is Convener, who ran on Pakenham Cup Day in the race won by Divus Romulus.
Mate, probably an ironic term with Convener. He can be hard to catch, but every chance last time out. I thought others, including Flemington Romans, were better runs. Loses Blake Shin today, but look, if the best of Convener turns up as it did at Caulfield when he won 4 or 5 starts ago, then he could run well. It was a really good push from Jack Turnbull this morning on the radio, which surprised me a little bit in relation to Flemington Romans, who I thought was better than him last time out. But yeah, he's a bit hard to catch.
He is hard to catch, but he's saddled up here in very similar order to what I see him every start. But like we've alluded to, when he's going to put his hand up and run his best possible races and get back in the winner's circle, sometimes a little bit hard to determine, but he's here in good order again today.
5 is the aforementioned Flemington Romans, 3rd in the Divus Romulus race on Pakenham Cup Day. John Allen was in the saddle for the placing here over 2,000 metres to Alma Rise on Oaks Day.
Yeah, I thought it ran really well at Pakenham, where he had the blinkers go on there for the first time. It wasn't beaten far. The winner's pretty smart and the runner-up's pretty hard to get past. He's hard fit. He can roll forward in a race that lacks speed on paper. He's tactically versatile. I think he's one of the 2 leading chances in the race.
Very typical parade from him that we're used to seeing week in, week out. He's a horse that always carries a little bit of condition around his midsection, so that's pretty normal for him. He is having just a little bit of a sweat, but I'm not concerned about that at all, given how relaxed he is.
Back in trip for the 6 Roaring Engine, who was a Valley winner at this distance a month ago.
Yeah, I'd forgive the run last start. 3 wide, no cover throughout off a fast speed over 3,000 metres. You're entitled to get pretty tired late. The horse will be hard fit. It was a pretty strong finish to win a weaker race 2 starts ago and has always shown staying talent.
He's such a neat, handsome little horse, this, and he saddles up in order that I'm used to seeing from him. He's fit, he's got a nice little pep in his step today, so he'd need to bounce back on his most recent run, but if he can, he's here looking well.
7 Vivideal is playing in the centre of the mounting yard, was a winner over 2,350 during the Warrnambool Carnival last May. Was the runner-up in the Deakin race on Pakenham Cup Day.
Yeah, so he was no match for a potentially pretty smart winner there in Deakin last start, but I thought ran well and now looks ready for the rise in distance 4th up. You mentioned the only run he's had beyond 2,100 as staying trip, which was when he won at Warrnambool during the May Carnival. So he might be the leader in a race of no speed, getting complete control and ready to step up in trip. So I can see why there's been support for him at a price.
He looks super. He's very, very healthy with his coat. He's got dapples all over his hindquarters. I think his fitness is where it needs to be. He's had a number of runs this preparation now, so stepping up in distance again today looks fairly ideal for him.
8 a scratching, 9 Lavish Thinker is like Roaring Engine, a winner at the Valley 2,500 2-back and dropping back from a 3,000 metre contest there.
Yeah, it just didn't stay there at 3,000, so suited dropping back in distance, down in weight, does rise in class. I think he'd need to go to a new level here.
Well, you know his fitness is absolutely spot on, having run over 3,000 metres recently. He parades in good, relaxed order here today. It's just getting a touch warm in places, but that's nothing to be concerned about. 11
Bitcoin after a 4th beat and a length and a half to Roaring Engine over the 2,500 at the Valley, finished at 1 spot in front of Lavish Thinker over the 3,000.
Yeah, so he ran the second fastest last 200 metres of the race last start over 3,000, so staying shouldn't be an issue for him. He dropped sharply in weight with the rise in class and also the claim here. And look, it's obviously going to be a tougher assignment for him, so he's probably going to need to produce a new career peak.
He saddles up in good, healthy order, and the one thing I like about these staying races is you see the horses generally walking around in a nice, relaxed way. The work's caught up with them, and obviously they're conserving their energy nicely to run over these staying trips. He's well, this horse. There's no reason why he wouldn't be running up to the best of his ability here.
12 Alpine Rocket is on the backup for running top 4 in the opener at Geelong last Saturday.
It was a good effort. Ran the second fastest last 200 metres of the race there, and you'd think would be fit on the backup. Does rise in class, and that win 2 starts ago was at benchmark 58 level, where that's probably one a bit unfortunate not to beat him, so needs to go to a new level.
He does need to go to another level, but he's here, he's fit and he's well.
And back to the one in Tara Mansour, who was placed in both the Banjo Patterson and the Flemington Cup during the winter here last year.
Yeah, this looks a really suitable race for him. So he ran the second fastest last 200 metres of the race in Sydney last start. Only the winner was quicker than him. It was a much improved run 3rd up, and now 4th up from a spell. He should be nearing peak fitness, looks ready for the step up in distance. And he just brings some different form into the race through that race in Sydney. I think with the scratching of Samuel Langhorne, he's just about top pick in the race now. He's a class horse. You look at through some of his form in recent preparations, it's in much stronger races than that of his opposition. So a couple of kilos off his back will help, and with the right run, I think he's the one to beat.
Yeah, he looks really well, Ben. Your pick here. I think that he saddles up in nice order. His fitness is where it needs to be. His coat's lovely and healthy, and this step up in distance range looks ideal for him for where he's at.
The mid-January staying contest at Flemington has brought forward a week. The Readiness App Handicap over 2,500 metres. Ben Ascari, you're seeing them well. Continue the run, please.
With Tara Mansour here, I did like him and Samuel Langhorne. We've lost one of them, so I'm left with Tara Mansour as the top pick in the race, and I like his effort there, 3rd up. I thought he did enough 2nd up at Ballarat in a high-pressure race, probably just not fit enough to handle that yet. Improved run in Sydney last time out, and now looks ready for the rise in trip. You look at his best form, it reads pretty well for this grade of race. Flaming Romans looks the other great chance in the race. He got the blinkers on last time, ran well behind a smart winner. He's hard fit from a leading stable when it comes to preparing stayers. Newfoundland down in grade, maybe even hard fit for having had that run at the 2,800 last time out. It's in the mix as well. Vivideal might be your map horse. Can roll forward, doesn't look a lot of pressure on paper. But Tara Mansour, I'm going with the class here in race 4.
Your boy did saddle up looking very well here, Ben, but I'm happy to be with the 2 in Newfoundland. I thought this horse looked super. I think he's an absolute gentleman on race day. He conserves his energy really nicely. He's obviously a very fit horse from recent racing. I just like the way he does things. I think that he conserves really, really well. Tara Mansour saddled up looking great. Flaming Romans, here's another horse. He's very fresh today. He was really giving the 2 strappers a bit of a handful as the jockey was getting on board, but I think he's a very fit and well horse.
Very competitive race here. Flaming Romans is still getting the cash. It has just dried up a little bit over the last 10 or so minutes, but still plenty of money coming through throughout the market. The top 6 in this one really getting a fair amount of interest top to bottom. Newfoundland, the pick of the yard there, $5, just out to $5.50. Tara Mansour, Benny's pick, $7.50 into $4.60 has been one of the strong movers since these markets open, and that's continued. Vivadeal, $11 into $6.50, the biggest of the movers there, and Lavish Thinker, $9.50 held that price, 14 into 12. A little bit of deductions has brought the bottom 3 in there, but Flaming Romans, $4.40 into $3.70. Your best backed in this one. Newfoundland getting a bit of cash as well at $5.50. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on your screen or visit the website.
Philip Stokes with 2 runners in the Readiness app handicap, the top weight Tara Mansour and also Lavish Thinker. Philip, appreciate your time. Amy really taken with Tara Mansour's appearance. Is he starting to get there 4th up?
He is. I thought his last run at Randwick was full of merit. He goes up a bit and trip today, which suits up to the 2,500. So he's ready to peak.
We're onto a good 3 surface now after 3 races. How does that impact his chances?
Shouldn't worry him, I wouldn't have thought. So I'm happy with him. He's paraded beautifully and should give a good sight.
Lavish Thinker back in trip and away from the valley. How does it profile for him?
I think the profile is okay. Down on weights. I hope it's hard to bring him back from a 3,000 metre weight race in 2 weeks' time, but it's the right race for him. So, look, he's definitely an each-way player.
What are the main things you and your team have got to do to help the galloper recover and then be ready for an assignment like this?
We just take him up the farm and just give him plenty of time up there, and he's just done one piece of work going into this.
How do you split them?
Look, Tara Mansour's on the up. He's ready to peak, so probably Tara Mansour.
Good luck, Philip.
Thank you.
Philip Stokes with a couple of chances here in single figures. Tara Mansour, who's arguably been the best back runner in the race. $7.50 was bet. Now he's been $5.50 into $4.60 on race day. The best of them, according to Philip. Speed-wise, this race doesn't look like it's got a lot, and that was what we saw in the previous. And then one decided not to go forward. We had a very slowly run race, won by Smoking Romans. You've got Vivadeal, who looks your most likely leader, but perhaps Flaming Romans can come across and settle in second position. Perhaps Newfoundland can be a bit closer today. Convener might be able to use the draw to kick up, and up to 2,500 metres, Tara Mansour doesn't need to be too far away. So I don't think by any stretch they're going to go quickly here, but there's a few that can potentially roll forward. They're starting to load away for the 4th on the program at Flemington Standish Handicap Day. Let's go to Matt Hill for his call.
Lavish Thinker, Tommy Stockdale joining the line. There's Convener, Safi Osman. Got a winner last night at Packham's. Been here for 6 or 7 weeks visiting whilst the weather is pretty ordinary over in England and Ireland at the moment. Sentimental Flame joins the line, Bo Mertens. So getting set well. Flaming Romans, who is the favourite, $3.90 on VOP, goes forward. Tara Mansour, who was an eye-catcher in Sydney last start. Alpine Rocket is about to load with Bitcoin and also Roaring Engine, the last couple to take their place. There's Alpine Rocket, Daniel Moore. Daniel already in the winner's circle today as Bitcoin goes forward. So a famous starting point here at Flemington, the 2,500 metres as Roaring Engine goes up, completes the line, field set and racing immediately, and Lavish Thinker jumped away well from the centre. Vivadeal is pushing up towards the inside. Down low, Newfoundland is booting through as well, and Flaming Romans wide. 4 across the track at the post with a lap to go, and they were followed by Bitcoin deeper from Sentimental Flame. Convener the inside, Tara Mansour third last, and then came Roaring Engine and Alpine Rocket last as they head towards the riverside. 2,100 metres to go from that inside draw. Newfoundland is going to lead the race from Vivadeal, and out 3 deep, Lavish Thinker is pushing on with it. Convener is next on the inside, just tighten for room a little. Flaming Romans wider, and Sentimental Flame between horses at the 1,700 metres. A length and a quarter, Bitcoin, Tara Mansour, 2 lengths, Roaring Engine, and Alpine Rocket is at the tail of the field as they continue their journey past the 1,600 metres. Newfoundland in front. front from Lavish Thinker, and then came Vivadil third. Flamin' Romans had to take its medicine, so it's 3 wide the trip by the looks of it. Sentimental Flame between horses, and then came next on the rails Convener. Further back is Bitcoin and Tara Mansour as they reach the 1400 metres. Well back in the field then is Roaring Engine, and Alpine Rocket is at the tail of the field. If anything, Newfoundland for Tommy Preble extended the lead and just quickened at Chiquita Lodge. So heading towards the 1100 metres, and the front runner is Newfoundland by 2.5 lengths to Vivadil Lavish Thinker. Then came Flamin' Romans out wider, Sentimental Flame Convener, 3/4 Bitcoin, and they were followed by Tara Mansour, Roaring Engine, and last of all is Alpine Rocket. Newfoundland, 850 metres to go. Just rein back a little, about 1 3/4 lengths Lavish Thinker, Vivadil. Flamin' Romans is 4-3 deep, a length Sentimental Flame. Bitcoin has the back of the favourite Flamin' Romans, and then came Convener, Tara Mansour, Roaring Engine and Alpine Rocket as they come up towards the corner. 600 metres to go. It's Newfoundland being rated by the young jockey, 1 1/4 Lavish Thinker. Then came Flamin' Romans, who's starting to feel it a little. Vivadil next the inside, Tara Mansour, Bitcoin down the centre of the track, and then came Convener. Newfoundland, 300 metres to go, looking to lead all of the way, but it's vulnerable. Tara Mansour up the middles, running home hard. Then came Bitcoin, Sentimental Flame and Convener. Tara Mansour took the front with 100 metres to go from Newfoundland Convener. Tara Mansour is drawing away, and Tara Mansour, after that excellent run in Sydney, won by almost 2. Newfoundland Convener, Bitcoin. Then came Sentimental Flame, Roaring Engine. Next, Alpine Rocket, Lavish Thinker. A gap to Flamin' Romans, and last of all was Vivadil.
Philip Stokes made the case pre-race. It's a class record here. Come on, Tara Mansour stopped the clock at 2:35.39, taking close to a second off See What You Think's class record set back in December 2021. And a bit of class prevailing there as well. Placings here in a Banjo Patterson and a Flemington Cup during the winter on softer tracks. On the good 3 today, no problem whatsoever for Tara Mansour, who was 4th up today. And at start 39, it'll be an interesting chat with Philip Stokes to find out what he might be considering, given he's had some handy stayers. The latter part of their career do pretty well in recent years, a maid being the main one who springs to mind. 1, 2, 4, 11, your numbers across the line. Newfoundland stuck on well, and Convener, well, as you mentioned, Jack Turnbull made a reasonable case on RSM this morning, and he's been hard to catch, but if you're happy to play each way, you have been provided with some sort of return. But all honours the winner, and Jayla Kennedy with a well-adjudged ride on Tara Mansour.
Yeah, she's done a good job there, Jayla. She was able to get him to switch off well enough in the mid stages, and just from the draw and the way the race worked out, she was never able to get in the running line. She was always closer to the fence and had lesser chances on her outside. So what that meant was when things got serious on the turn, she was going to need to get into the clear, and he looked to have a lot to give. There were 2 horses travelling on the turn. They were Newfoundland and Tara Mansour. And what she was able to do was identify the horse on her outside. Bitcoin was not going well enough, and she just timed her move to push Bitcoin out of the way, get on the back of Flamin' Romans, who was going well enough to take her into the race. And then he, relative to the rest of the race, he's exploded away from the opposition and won really well. He was nicely placed today. He's done most of his racing in recent preparations in much stronger races than that one, and he was well backed accordingly. Let's hear from the winning trainer and Phil Stokes.
Well-deserved first victory at Flemington at his 8th attempt for Tara Mansour. Philip Stokes joins us. You laid the case out and was left up to Jayla, and she's duly delivered.
She has. She looked a bit messy there for a while, but look, she got clear room, and he was strong. We thought he was peaking, so it's great to get a winner for Regal Bloodstock and all the team here. It meant a lot to him.
He's 8 in the race book, but bred to Northern Hemisphere time. There's still a fair runway for this guy, isn't there?
There is. We're sort of thinking maybe from here we might go towards a Tawny Cup, maybe an Adelaide Cup.
Got the I guess, template with a horse like a maid, how you manage these stayers who, regardless of age, have got a fair bit under their belt in their careers. Will you have to change how you train him a little bit, or it is, as you mentioned, what you've got at your disposal at Pakenham means you can just shift gears as necessary?
Yeah, exactly. We're very lucky we've got the farm there at Pakenham. We've got beautiful training surfaces, so he'll be back up at the farm tomorrow, and we'll just keep him ticking over there and just keep him mentally happy, and hopefully he can win more races for Connections.
Get a word on Water Deal's return a little bit later on this afternoon?
Yeah, look, he's been off the scene for a while, but he's jumped out well. First time down the straight. I think he might need the run, but he's given me all the indications he's in for a good prep.
Philip, well done with Tara Mansour.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Tara Mansour winning the 4th race at Flemington. The readiness app for the stayers, benchmark 78 level, 2,500 metres. Jayla Kennedy has had him back in the field, and when he got clear, he was able to power over the top of Newfoundland, who was pretty brave on speed. He's run a good race, dropping in class today. Convener doing his usual things, and Bitcoin was no match for Tara Mansour when he wanted to get out and get going, but he's wound up okay for something a bit easier. I suppose the disappointing runner maybe Flemington Romans. He hasn't been able to finish off as we would have expected. But, yeah, Tara Mansour was ready today. Amy, you gave him a really good push in the yard that he was looking good. And we might just hear from Jayla after she makes things official. So, yeah, Amy, Tara Mansour and Newfoundland, the two probably that you gave the biggest push to have run the Quinella.
Yeah, they both ran up to expectation, didn't they? And it was a nice ride by Jayla. Romans had not much luck in running, was trapped wide, probably entitled to not run on as strongly as what we are used to seeing from him. But nice ride from Jayla, needed that little bit of luck at the right time and sort of bullocked her way out and got the job done, and she's going to catch up with Nigel now.
Jayla Kennedy having a well-deserved drink from our resident bartender today, floor manager extraordinaire George Vella. Jayla Kennedy victorious on Tara Mansour. Jayla, some sticky chapters through that race. How were you able to extricate yourself and find a path to victory?
Probably was more making a path as opposed to waiting for one to open, but he just had such a good turn of foot. They rolled along at a really good tempo. I really didn't expect to be that far back. But yeah, he does the first half of the race right, and he really stoked up underneath me from the 1,000, and I just had to nurse him for as long as I could. And geez, as soon as I got out, he was electric. He had a really good turn of foot.
You got a good measuring stick through some stayers, Barclay Square being the one that most obviously springs to mind. What do you make of him?
Yeah, look, he's got a really big stride on him. Maybe not as big as Barclay Square, but at the same time, Barclay's probably got a few more hands on him. But he's tough, this bloke. I hit the front early, and to his credit, he really toughed it out.
Well done.
Thank you.